LTV Sailing School and Yacht
Brokerage.
We'll teach you to sail and then help you find the boat of your dreams. LTV Sailing, living the dream.
All right, I'm Chris,
I'm Crystal.
and we're with LTV Sailing School and Yacht Brokerage, also representing the multi-hull company down here in Grenada. And today we're in beautiful Prickly Bay. What boat are we on today, Crystal?
We're on Delphine,
Delphine?
a 2003 Outremer 45.
Yeah, Danson design.
Danson design.
So those were kind of that early 2000s design Outremers. They have a great reputation, they have a big following. Really kind of one of the early performance cruising catamarans, I would say, and definitely earned that reputation as a performance cruiser.
Yeah, when we first posted this, we immediately had a surge of inquiries.
I think there were 4 inquiries in the first 2 days.
First 2 days. And even the person that, because they've owned this boat since 2014, so the person that was looking at it at the same time they were looking at it got a hold of us as well.
Just knowing what the quality of this particular boat. These boats definitely have a following. This boat in particular has been really well cared for, well maintained, and yeah, she's in great shape.
Yeah, because after a certain number of years, it's how the boat's maintained.
So yeah, walking around this boat, she's a daggerboard boat. So nice performance upwind.
Slender hulls.
Slender hulls, yeah. Mm-hmm. So everything's a compromise, right? So what we're giving up in volume and maximized space inside, we're trading that for performance. So narrower hulls, smaller saloon area, but really, yeah, great design.
It's pretty comfortable.
For a couple,
yeah.
I would say this boat is a great boat.
Yeah.
Couple that has guests once in a while. It has a 2. It's actually a 4-cabin boat. The 2 cabins up forward in the bows are pretty small. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
But great for crew.
But great for crew. Yeah. Great for kids. Things like that. Yeah.
What do you think about the trampolines? They've got 2 narrow trampolines, but they're very long. What do you
Super
think?
long.
Yeah.
So again, we go back to that performance. The more weight we put forward, if we want to say it, it's sort of a little taboo around here, but if we want to say the Bali word, where we've got that solid bridge deck that goes all the way forward, we're maximizing that entertaining space, right? Every boat's got a purpose.
Yeah.
That boat's just not meant to sail. But this one really is. So on this boat, on the Outremer, we've got big trampolines up front. That's less weight up front. So yeah. That's what it's all about. Reducing that forward weight so that the bows are lighter, so the bows can move over waves and cut through the water a lot more smoothly.
Yeah, just approaching this boat in our dinghy, you could tell like the roof is rounded. Everything is streamlined. You could tell it's a fast boat.
Yeah, she looks fast, right? And that's half the battle. Yeah, no,
She's
she
very
really
attractive.
is. Good looking boat. She's a good looking boat. As you're walking around, there's solar panels on the bimini. It looks like it's kind of like the soft panels, like a lot of boats do. Those panels are very inefficient. These are actually hard panels that are just recessed into the bimini, and they're open from the bottom, so we can get air movement over the bottom of them. Keeps them cool, which makes them more efficient.
Does that solar panel, that back solar panel, move?
It does. It's actually articulating.
Nice.
Yeah, so the design, here in the Caribbean, we're quite often pointed into the wind, right? We're pointed east because we got the trade wind breezes blowing. And that means that as that sun kind of tracks back further in the day, if you got just flat panels, they're not going to get as much energy out of them. You can kick these up, I'm not sure what it is, 15 degrees, something like that. And it just extends that prime energy time of the.
I just want to read this quote from the owner because I think it's very cute. You could make toast in the morning, water all day, ice is needed, and keeps the cooler cold. It's up here. There's a little cooler up here.
Great quote from Dave. But also, just to talk about that cold storage, we've got outside, there's a 12-volt freezer. I'm not sure, Dometic or one of those. Mm-hmm. And then inside, we've got a top-loading freezer here in the saloon, just right there with cameras are sitting on it. And then down below in the galley, we've got a fridge with a small freezer compartment down there. Really nice setup, lots of cold storage. And like you mentioned, and what Dave's quote there was about, just really good energy efficiency, right?
Yeah.
We've got the solar that's charging those batteries. We got lithium-ion batteries, keeping everything going.
So what you're saying is, in regards to the coolers, is you don't have to go very far to get your cocktail.
Tons of energy, plenty to keep you going all day and do whatever you need to do. Water maker on board, so I guess that's the one nice bit of kit. If you don't want to have to go to the dock very often, having that water maker on board is great. Also has a washer and dryer or washing machine.
Yeah.
Yep. So again, nice to, you can do your laundry in a bucket, nothing wrong with that. Personally, I'd rather hand it off to somebody local and let them do it. A lot of times in Beckway or even down here, we'll have ladies come dinghy up and offer to do laundry. That's the best option. They're going to go home. They're going to do the laundry for you. They're going to line dry it. It's going to be great.
Fold it.
But if you're off in some remote corner of the world and you don't want to be bothered, you do have a washing machine on board.
But just talking about getting on the boat from the dinghy, it's got great platform to get on this boat, and that if you got somebody with mobility issues, and the stairs going down too, those are probably the widest stairs I've ever seen on a boat.
One of the other things I was going to point out was talking about that the stern steps and everything when you're back there. Tons of bridge deck clearance. This boat is up in the air. I don't know what the exact bridge deck number is, but I can tell you it's more than most boats I see on production these days.
And how is that an advantage?
It's going to reduce slapping. So the higher bridge deck, you'd say, every boat's going to slap, every catamaran is going to slap in the perfect conditions, right? There's some condition out there that'll get you. But the higher that bridge deck clearance is, the less chance there is of having that wave pop up and hit the bridge deck. And
how annoying is that?
It can be really nerve-wracking. I've been on some boats with really low bridge deck clearance in some really kind of aggressive wave conditions, and it really jars your nerves after a while.
I thought I noticed a water catchment system out there. Did you notice that?
Yeah, coming off the Bimini. There is water catchment. It just goes into a bucket. You generally don't want to put the rainwater into your tanks. Generally, they're going to carry more dirt. You're going to get, your tanks are going to get nasty quicker. But what the owner does is just catches it in a bucket, and you can do, you can rinse dishes, you can rinse the decks, you can do a lot of stuff with that rain catchment
fresh water.
Yeah.
And actually out there, they've got the cushions, the net cushions all the way around. Those are all brand new, right?
Yeah, I think you're talking about the bolsters that are around the bars. Yeah, those bolsters are really nice. They look really new. The bench cushions are a little bit more tired, but those bolster cushions are really nice. And the helm seat setup on this boat, there's not really a seat, right? It's just a bar with one of those bolsters on it. Basically lean against it and keep you on your feet, keep you paying attention.
Well, I think that's true with a lot of racing type boats too. They don't. You're not going to relax.
And to be clear, I wouldn't call this a racing boat, right? This is a performance cruiser. Definitely more comfortable, built for living aboard more than a stripped out race boat. But there's definitely considerations have been made for performance.
And then that table out there is pretty versatile.
I love that table. Yeah, really cool. You can remove it and stow it. If you're underway, you don't really need it out there on a passage. But once you're at anchor, once you're in the harbor, putting that table out there, it can go sideways and kind of make a long table, or it can go the other way, fore and aft, and make a different shaped table. It folds up, and the way it folds, it lifts and slides in to make the table smaller as a little coffee table, or you can expand that and make it more like a dining table comfortable for two, for sure.
I think it's a pretty substantial, what do you call it, frame out there.
For the solar.
Yeah, and it's got a little ladder.
Well, yeah, that ladder is really to access the top of the Bimini. Go up there and close your sail covers and stuff like that.
That's nice.
Yeah. Speaking of sails, we've got the Hydronet main, which is in good condition. And then the jib on this boat is a self-tacking jib. And then it's set up with a sprit, so you can run a Code Zero or a Screecher kind of a sail on there, or even an asymmetric spinnaker on a top-down furler. So lots of sail combination options on this boat. Really a nice setup, to get out there and go if you want to go cross oceans. Or the owner of the boat has actually been racing this boat up at the some of the multi-hull challenges and even here in Grenada Sailing Week a couple times.
I think just double-handed or single-handed?
Yeah, double-handed, single-handed. So yeah, him and his wife sailing this boat, just getting out there and enjoying it.
Yeah, with the self-tacking jib, I imagine it's pretty...
Self-tacking jib makes it a lot easier, right? A little bit easier to tack. Definitely makes those upwind legs more manageable. And then once you're going downwind, jibing the boat, you're going to need a couple hands, but you can also use autopilot for that.
One thing I noticed about this boat is every single usable space is used.
Storage.
And everything. I love that. I love that.
One of the things I like, this table slides, right? We can push this table all the way over there for if I need different room here.
Oh, you don't have to climb
It comes
over
all the way
people.
over here. I can make my dinner right here, in case I don't drop anything. Put it back in the middle.
It's got this little
Yeah,
edge.
kind of a fiddle edge. The base of this table, when you open it up, it actually is storage. It has a lazy Susan, so you can kind of get access to canned goods or whatever you got there.
Yeah, because that's one thing that's annoying if you can't get to.
Or you're trying to reach back, you
don't
can't find
remember
anything,
what you
where's that?
had.
Yep. Good access. The boat has hydraulic steering setup. We got easy access to the hydraulics right over here. Just open up the panel and it's right there. Access back in the engine compartments. Engine rooms on this boat are clean. That's always a good sign. You know the boat's been cared for when you see the engine compartments looking good, right? Yeah. What else did you like about it?
It is galley down.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Yeah. What are your thoughts on galley down?
Well, when I think this was the first boat that I saw that had a galley down, and at first I was just like, I don't know, a galley down. It feels like you're removed from every place, but actually, as a chef or a cook, you don't want people in your way. And most boats, the galley is pretty tiny. And so to have the galley down makes it so much easier. And honestly, if you're entertaining, you want to sit down and relax and entertain.
Hang
You don't
out
want
with your
people to be all around you while
Yeah.
you're trying to do something.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, pretty much every time I come into the kitchen, you kick me out anyway, right? So, you've got that there. But then the other thing on that, it's really nice. Yeah, I mean, if you make a mess, it's not right in the middle of everybody. It's, you kind of have it out of the way, out of sight, out of mind a little bit. But then accessibility, there's a hatch right there, just over the sink. You can pass right out through that hatch if you want to pass dishes up or drinks up or whatever it might be. Also the companionway right here. So yeah, it's a good, convenient setup, very efficient. And if you've come from a monohull world where in monohulls, we're always looking for that U-shaped galley. We're always looking for straps to hold ourselves in when we're underway. There's this fantasy about catamarans where they don't move. Reality is they still move. They don't heel over, or at least they better not. But they still move a lot, right? And so being able to be braced in the kitchen and be, more comfortable, more safe while you're cooking, I think is a big advantage.
I mean, this boat's on a mooring ball right now, and it moves around a lot.
She's moving a little bit, yeah. I mean, she's a lively boat. She's lightweight. She's lively.
About the galley down, the oven is eye height.
The oven is up at eye height. Yeah, just up above. Nice setup. So yeah, you're not bending down and trying to reach, go into.
Yeah.
It's right there. No problem. Also some really nice features on the boat that are kind of custom. I guess we'll start in the galley. I love those little magnetic drop-down storage for all the utensils. One side has all the silverware, the other side has kitchen utensils.
Yeah.
And when you don't use them, they just pop up. Magnets hold them in place. There's a little safety there that'll lock them when you're going sailing.
Yeah, nice custom.
Yeah, really cool. There's a custom magnetic knife holder down there, which is a nice feature. Just kind of keeps the knife safe and not rattling around in a drawer. You can see what you got.
Easy to grab.
Easy to grab when you need one. And then I love this little cubby hole and drawer that's right here, just behind right here. It's kind of nice little cubby hole storage. I think they've got some nice baskets and stuff there. And then there's actually a chart drawer that pulls out and holds your charts. So I know those paper charts are maybe becoming an antiquity, but some of us still enjoy having them on board. So nice to have a little place to store those. That's great.
Yeah, the instrument panels are eye height as well.
Yeah.
That makes it nice.
What about the head? What did you think?
It's
Did you
pretty
check it out?
big.
Pretty big. Electric flush toilet, like full size, the large size bowl. It's got a separate shower. It's got a nice
stand
sink.
in the shower.
You can stand in the shower. The shower's pretty big.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's a good size. It's not like the balance where they bring five
Four or five people,
four or
yeah.
five of your closest friends.
Maybe
to
only
shower with
two
you.
on this one.
Maybe only two on this one. That's why I'm probably better with that anyway. So you've got that nice head setup. And it's one head, right? So you're not trying to have a head for every cabin, which a lot of the boats do, and it just takes up a lot of space.
Yeah, a lot of people would argue that there's more to maintain.
Yeah, absolutely. More to go wrong. And then what about the sleeping accommodations?
There's sleeping accommodations everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Every time I turned around, I was like, oh.
The main bunks are those kind of midship ones, right? They're kind of double or like twin size. What would you call them?
I'd say they're double.
Yeah, double size. Comfortable for two people, as long as they like each other. right? That's a nice feature. Kind of, they're sort of, I guess I'd call them Pullman style.
Yeah, Pullman
You've got
style.
one of those on each side. And then forward, you've got a little closet, hanging closet space and a little storage space. And then forward to that, there's a kind of a V berth. So maybe for crew, if you're doing a long distance passage, it's nice to have your own space. You got that crew space available, and then or kids, whatever. If you got a bunch of people on board,
I think midships would probably be more stable too.
more stable, more comfortable,
Yeah.
less movement, right?
Yeah.
The farther forward you go on a cat, the more movement there's going to be in the bows, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're in a seaway, if you're going upwind and banging off of waves, it's going to be more comfortable to be midships than it is to be all the way forward.
The seats are very comfortable.
Very comfortable,
They're
and
super
the
thick.
upholstery in here is nice.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I like this. The woodwork, the upholstery. I mean, everything
floors
really gorgeous.
are really
yeah.
nice.
It's all been done very, very nice. This boat was in good shape when the current owner bought it, and he's done a lot of work to maintain
An
it
entire
and
page.
upgrade it.
This
Yeah,
is
so
all his.
check out the listing.
Yeah.
You'll see more.
But
we'll
this-
put a link to that listing in the comments also. So check that out.
And the settee sits up higher so you can see out the
Yeah,
window.
I actually got good visibility, right? I can see out these windows. It's getting a little later in the day, but yeah, I can see the boat over next to us. What else, Crystal?
You know what I noticed about this boat?
What did you
want to
notice?
know?
I want to know.
The windows stay open.
Oh, that's
Oh,
because
my
Dave has
gosh.
actually fixed the little things. But along those lines, the thing I would say, woo, there goes ventilation. That's exactly what I was going to say. This boat has great ventilation.
Yes, it does.
So
Windows
these
everywhere.
two big forward-facing opening hatches here, another opening or hatch there. We've got the door opening up, slider right there. But then when you go down the halls, we've got all the side ports. And as I walk around, there's these little aluminum kind of catches. They're little wind catchers.
Oh, wow.
So they hold the window open. They go in there just perfect. They basically kind of block from rain or whatever, and they funnel the wind in. And I mean, they create a wind tunnel inside.
Interesting.
Really good ventilation inside on this boat.
But with the Galley down, you don't have to worry about the stove going out.
I don't have to worry about the stove going out as long as I don't have those little vents in. I bet if those little vents, you might have trouble with the stove. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, it's lots of great features. Lots of things really well thought out on this boat. And if you're looking for a boat that can really sail, that can put in the miles, one of the things that people give up when they decide to go with the Catamaran is the ability to point, the ability to go up, sail upwind. I hate to say it, but most of these production cats are lucky if they can go 50 degrees apparent to the apparent wind. You can trim your sails in over tight and make the telltale stream at 45 or maybe even higher. But when you look at your chart plotter and you see the difference between the course that you're pointed at and your course over ground, the wider, what you want is you want those two lines to be very close together. That means you're actually sailing the direction you think you are. But the farther those two lines get apart, the more leeway that you're making. And that
There you go.
really means the boat's not going upwind.
Yeah.
In order to go upwind, what does a boat need? It needs those narrow hulls with a fine entry point. It needs daggerboards, and it needs good sail trim.
So this couple that have had this boat since 2014 have taken such good care of it, even stowing it away.
Oh yeah.
They have that cover
This
for
boat
it.
has a cover. When it's in the yard, she has a yard cover. So there's a big cover. We've actually got it over at the office right now. The guys are cleaning it up, and it's going to go into our climate-controlled storage. But yes, that cover for when the boat's in the yard is great. It keeps the sun off. It keeps the UV off. So your windows don't end up getting all crazed. Your decks don't take as much wear and tear from that UV. If you're going to spend the time down here in the Caribbean, man, the sun is harsh.
Yeah, we were just noticing with the buttons that are just deteriorating on
Yeah, the humidity and the sun, the UV, just take their toll on everything. So
What about humans? Does it take
they take it toll on humans too. I was out sailing for Grenada Sailing Week last week, all out there, and yeah, I got some sunburn. I got a little more sun than I should have been getting. So there's also a cover that goes onto the boom. So when you're at anchor, if you're going to be spending some time in a certain anchorage or whatever, you can zip that on. That'll give you more shade over the deck. It keeps the decks cooler. It also means you can keep some windows open even when it's raining.
Oh,
so
wow.
you keep that
Yeah.
ventilation going.
It's got some shade on the back as well to drop the
There's a
shade down.
drop down with those mesh sunshades. Great feature to have for sure. So yeah, no, it's a great boat. Definitely, it's made. It's for this boat is really for a family or small family or a couple that want to go sailing that can appreciate the performance that this boat's going to offer, and really in the style. I
They
mean,
want to
this is
sail fast and live slow.
sail fast, live slow. There we go. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for sticking around. I'm sure this video's gone longer than you thought you were going to sit here and watch, but hopefully, if you hung in there till the end, go ahead, check out the listing. Contact me. I've got the boat listed. We're here in Grenada, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have. I can do a live video tour if you want to look around the boat, or come on down to Grenada and we'll show you the boat.
Yeah, it's parked right in front of our office, so
Just in front
anytime.
of the office.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.